Hello airsoft fans, so here we have the VFC PPKS, and I'm sure you've seen lots of unboxings already, so we won't bother with that. Here's my copy. You'll probably notice it looks a little bit different to other ones you may have seen on YouTube, and that's because I've taken the paint off and given it a slightly worn look. Because I mainly collect now, I prefer the realistic metallic look for my toys. I will discuss how I've done that later in the video. So first I want to talk about the issues that you may have seen, that these don't cycle very well and they get stuck and don't lock open. So I believe the reason for that is to do with the hammer design. If you have a look in there, you see there's a little recess in the hammer and then there's a little protrusion. So that is what actually pushes the hammer back. And it's a bit of a strange design because it pushes from quite low down, so it needs quite a lot of force. So the way I found to remedy this somewhat is basically you leave the hammer cocked for a couple of days to weaken the spring, and put some grease in that recess, and that does help to make it easier to cycle. It won't solve the problem, but it definitely makes it better. This one is shooting around 230 to 260, although I haven't set the hop, but this is not a good weapon for airsoft skirmishing. The magazine is just too small to hold enough gas to make it competitive in gaming. So it's more of a collector's item, and being the only PPK available, apart from the Marushin, which is a bit old, this is the only option you got. So if you want something for collecting, I'd say this is quite a nice piece. It's got some good weight to it, feels good in the hand, and it's good for plinking indoors or outdoors, remembering to have your eye protection on all the time. So on to this wear look, if you're into that sort of thing. The first thing I did was to remove all the paint using this stuff. Now this is pretty nasty stuff, so be careful and dispose of any leftovers with care. I just use cotton bud, and you wipe it all over the surfaces, leave it for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and it all bubbles up, and you can just wipe it off with a cloth or scrape it with a piece of plastic or something. So obviously you want to dismantle the pistol to access everything. So once you've stripped off all the paint, you'll be left with a sort of greyish metal finish, and to give it this nice blued or black effect, I use Birchwood Casey aluminum black. It's pretty expensive, but you don't use very much of it, so it'll last a long time. As you can see, mine is pretty grotty. And again, that you will put a tiny bit on a piece of tissue or cloth and wipe over the surface as evenly as possible, and you'll see it will immediately turn this nice metallic black. And then if you so wish, you can add some wear. Now, never ever use sandpaper to do wear on your airsoft toys. I would suggest this fine steel wool or wire wool, and be careful with this stuff because it does create some very fine needle-like strands that are very nasty if you get on your clothes and skin, and can mess up the internals of the moving parts. So you want to make sure that you clean up very well after using this. And I'm going to do some here. You want to go in figure eights very lightly, because this blue comes off quite easily. until you get the desired wear you want. It is always better to go subtle. If you've got reference, that helps. If you want to copy an actual image, and you can see that it becomes a bit more metallic. I'll put a bit here to simulate the wear on the back strap. Again, figure eights, nice and lightly. It does take time to do this, so don't try and rush it. If you do overdo it, you can actually go over it again with the birchwood casey and re-black it, but you have to be careful because you may create patchiness where areas don't match up. So I like that. Just a little bit of extra wear in certain areas, just to give it that worn look. And I'll do it a bit on the slide. You can use it to bring out the edges. And I think that looks pretty good. So, hope you enjoyed this little quick tip, and see you on the next one.